Hey guys, what's up? It's your boy, the Dean. Today what I want to talk to you about is starting your own business. A lot of people, sit around sometimes and have ideas of, they're tired of punching the clock every day, and they want to come up with ideas or do something that will enable them to leave their jobs and really do something that they love to do. And I guess what I want to do is I want to kind of do a series on that, kind of talk to you guys out there about some of the things that you need to do if you want to start a business, some of the things it's going to take, the kind of time, the dedication, and some of the things that you might want to look at to get you in the right direction. One of the things that when you have your own business, it's not like a regular job. For me, for my business, I only get like 4 hours of sleep. It's a continuous, there's really not a day off until you get to a point where I guess you can take time off, which I do from time to time. But if you want to start your own business, one thing that you want to do is you have to find something that you're passionate about. It has to be a passion. It has to be something that you can teach somebody. What can you teach somebody? What can I teach somebody and sell it? And that should start the thing of an idea. But there are little aspects of it, from getting a .com to being an LLC and all these other things. There's little stepping stones, and you got to think about your customers, customer service, customer value. There's all these things, but also there's this great show. I used to watch. I had to switch hands. There's this great show that I watch. And if you are really interested in starting a business, if you really want to start a business and you're very serious about it, if you have a DVR, this show is something that you have to watch. As soon as I started watching it, I guess like a month ago, and when I saw it for the first time, I was like, wow, I've got to watch all these. And the show is called Shark Tank, and the show comes on, I guess, ABC on Fridays. And if you're really, really serious about starting a business, because if you watch the show, people have tons of ideas, and people just don't have the starting cost to start the business. And that's one thing about a business that I'll also talk about in these things to you guys, because I want you to make money, and there's so much stuff that you can do. But getting back on Shark Tank is a very great show because it shows the language of money. There's a language. And it's a language that a lot of people don't understand about business-wise. And if you're really serious about business and you want to get investors for that business, I'd say watch Shark Tank, because what you have is a bunch of millionaires on the panel, and people are trying to sell ideas, and you get to hear the hits and misses. You get to hear the questions that's being asked that help you grow your business. But one thing you've got to understand is that I remember doing my business. My first business I started was at 9 years old. I remember bagging groceries when I was in Virginia Beach. I used to bag groceries. And then instead of taking that money and buying, well, I did buy marbles and shit. But instead of taking that money, I saved that money, and I kept doing it over and over and over again, coming up with different types of businesses. And there's so many things that you can do, people. You can write. If you are pet lovers, there are things that you can do for dogs, dog treats, dog walking businesses. And I remember another business I had is doing entrepreneur. Excuse me, not that. I remember doing a concierge service, and this is something that you guys can do, where you go to help corporations out where people are working hard, but they have bills that need to be paid, house sit and stuff like that. That was something else I did. I mean, there's so many things that you can do, but you got to find what you love. You've got to have a passion for it, and it's got to be passionate enough where, and here's the thing that you don't want to do. You don't want to quit your job. That's what a lot of people mess up. You don't want to quit your job. You want to make the moment. Let me tell you when it's time to quit the job, because this is what I did when I used to work. When you begin making more money at your business than you do your job, that's when you go ahead and say, you know what? Then you don't quit it yet, because you want to make sure it's a steady and stable income. And one of the most important things in steady, stable incomes, there has to be a need. See, the business that I'm in right now, the thing that is great about my business is that I've got every year I get a new batch of people every year. And that's what you want for a business. You want your business to be something that people need. It's a need not a need that needs to be fulfilled, not a want, but a need. So with that being said, I just rambled. I'm trying to think and talk to the person out there who's like, you know what? I have all these ideas, but I don't know where to start. I don't know where to go. One thing I would say is your .com is very important. Your .com has to tell the person or the customer what it is you're selling. It has to say that. Not all the time. It doesn't have to say that all the time, but it has to be a symbol of what you are. And then you would go to logos and stuff like that. But you have to ask yourself, is this something that I can sell or market? And one thing you don't want to do is don't ask your friends, because your friends are your friends. And if they're true friends, they'll tell you the truth. But most times friends will tell you, that's a great idea. That's good. And then they won't say anything. What I'm saying to you is find something that you're passionate about, something that you know that there's a huge need in the market. Because when you watch Shark Tank, it's amazing of the ideas people come up with, and people are being successful. And that's the thing that I want the guys that listen to this is have that success. Being able to go and buy things, and it's not even about buying things. It's about working. It's about taking the money that you make, investing it, reinvesting it, saving it, putting it in stocks, bonds, mutual funds. Next day, you want to do all those things. But I'm not trying to get in that point of the money thing. I just want to get you at the point where, you know what? I want to start a business. I have a talent. I have a skill. There's something I can do, and I've got to sell it. But another problem a lot of people have nowadays is that they have great ideas. They come up with great businesses. But the problem is that you're what I call your fur coat, your suit. See, a lot of people, when they see a business, they go on your website. Your website will tell the customer more about you than you have the opportunity to do that. That's why if you're ever thinking about starting a business, have a website that is airtight. It's like your business suit. It's saying, this is who I am. This is what I represent. Because if you have one of those websites that have a bunch of crap on there and ads and stuff, people are not going to really take you seriously. What I want people to do is I want them to take you seriously, but I got to keep switching arms. I'm going back and forth. But what I want you to do is I want you to sit there and say to yourself, you know what? I have this idea. I want to create a business with it. But the question you have to ask yourself is, if you were to buy whatever that product is, would you buy it? And if not, why? And it's always the why that's going to give you the answer whether the business is going to run or not. But if you're thinking about giving a service, writing books, being an author, if you love pets, you can look into the pet thing. If you love babysitting, there's so many things that you can do, but you got to do the first thing. There's two things you got to do. Number one, you got to get off your ass and come up with an idea and work at it. People always sit around and say they're always busy. And to me, that's bullshit. I always believe if you're not selling, marketing yourself, you're blowing hot air and you're wasting time. But people always want to sit around and say, I'm busy. I don't have time. There's kids and there's the work and I have to do this. But then you don't want to start a business. You've got to, in order to be successful in business, you've got to have a hunger. And the hunger has got to be, you know what? I want it. I want it so bad I can taste it. What's his name? I think his name is Eric Thomas. He's like a motivator. And I know this is an old saying, but they talk about it a lot, about the guy who goes to the ocean and the teacher pushes his head underwater and he's fighting really hard to breathe. That's the motivation you want to have to start a business. You got to have that motivation, and you got to check your feelings at the door, because some businesses fail. It's tough out there. That's just how the market works. But you've got to have that fire inside of you that makes you want it bad enough. And like I say, I'm gonna talk more about starting businesses and give you ideas and stuff like that. But one thing I want to give you is a homework assignment also. 2 homework assignments. Number 1 is, what business do you want to create? And if you were on the other side, would you buy that business and why? That's number 1. Number 2, come up with a .com, and let that .com, don't be a long name, because some people can't spell. You don't want it long. You want it something simple, easy, concise, and something to understand. And the 3rd homework assignment is, from this point on, start watching Shark Tank. It's something I watch all the time. Watch Shark Tank. Watch how these people come in and try to negotiate and promote their stuff. You've got to have that gift of gab. You've got to be able to be articulate. You've got to be able to talk and discuss and talk about your product like you know yourself. So if you are taking this seriously, check this out. I'm going to put some videos out on that and just giving you some ideas. And I'm not saying what I'm giving you is the end game. It's not the last thing. It's just getting you to a starting point of getting off your ass and trying to create something that people want to buy. Once you start creating that, we can talk we'll get into marketing and things that you can do to do that. But the first thing is, remember, come up with an idea. The second one is get that .com. And the third thing is start watching Shark Tank. Very important. If you start doing those 3 things, you're going to be on your way. But that's just the beginning. Because a lot of people have a lot of great ideas, but that's all they become is ideas and what I call hot air. If you're not out there grinding, you're not out there trying to promote, real quick before I go, there used to be a time where there was what I call the back of your trunk selling, where you can only sell to your area because there was no internet. I mean, I'm old, so that was back in the day. But now, because of the internet, you have access to the world now, and it is very important that you get hold of that world. See, some people don't want to tell you and teach you this stuff because they want to keep all the money to themselves. There's enough money on the table for everybody, but you've got to want it. I can't force you to do it. No one else can force you to do it. But when you sit here and make excuses that I don't have time, there's 24 hours in a day, guys. And again, getting 4 hours of sleep is something I love, because I feel like if I'm for me, I feel like when I'm sleeping, I'm not thinking, and I'm not trying to find ways to build up product and sell. I want to hurry and go to sleep after like 3 o'clock in the morning. I want to hurry up and get up at 6 so I can get back on the grind. And that's the thought process you have to have. I know some of you have jobs and some of you working, but all I'm saying to you is you have time. You got to push away the friends, push away hanging out with the Joneses, wasting money and all that stuff. You know what? And that's going to be the next video on business about your money habits and stuff. So that's the first video I'm going to make. I'll holler back at you later. This is the Dean of themanmindset.com Money 101 tip.